Guys, good afternoon or good evening it is. Yes, welcome. It's almost 5 or past 5. It's 5:10 p.m. As we promised you, this is the game plan show coming to you from any time of the day. Yes, we are streaming live. My name is Fiifi Anaman, and we are going to start the show on a very sad note today. But before then, let me tell you what we'll be talking about today. We'll be wrapping up the GPL as it happened over the weekend. Yes, some matches were played out. We'll be taking you through everything that happened across all 8 centers. We'll also be talking a bit of boxing. Yes, there's a Ghanaian boxer who has a bout coming up in July. We'll be talking about that. And we'll also be speaking about the Black Stars who are currently into Kumasi for the final leg of their training ahead of the 2019 AFCON qualifier against Ethiopia. So that's what we'll be discussing on the show today. But before we begin, first things first. Now today we didn't hear good news coming in for African football. Now Ivorian International Cheick Tiote has been confirmed dead. Yes, he was just 2 weeks away from his 31st birthday, and he collapsed apparently during training this morning for Beijing Enterprises, which plays in a Chinese second flight. And yes, he collapsed and he was rushed to the hospital and he died. Now, initial reports are saying that he died of a cardiac arrest, and so that is what has happened to him. He's a former player of Newcastle, Roda JC, FC 20, Anderlecht. Yes, and he's also an Ivorian international. He was an Ivorian international player who was capped over 50 times and won the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations with the Ivory Coast. He also won league titles with Anderlecht as well as FC 20. So sad news coming in for the African football fraternity, and as well as the world football fraternity as well. Cheick Tiote was a massive player during his time at Newcastle. You all remember that striking volley he scored against Arsenal at some point. So we'll just observe a few seconds silence for Mr. Tiote, who passed away today. Okay, so that's Cheick Tiote, who passed away, aged 30, Ivorian international player, winner of the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations in Equatorial Guinea, as well as a former player of Newcastle. Rest in peace, Mr. Tiote. Now let's just move on to what we'll be speaking about today. We'll be discussing the Ghana Premier League. Yes, a lot happened over the weekend. Let me take you through the results as they happened. So let's start from what happened on Saturday. It was a Bronga Halfwood derby thing going on there. Brekum Chelsea welcomed Aduana Stars. That match ended 3-2 in favor of Aduana Stars. We had on Sunday Bechem United beating Wa All Stars, defending champions, by 2-0. We had Ashanti Gold winning by 3-0. Ashanti Gold have found their form, apparently, beating the Busia Dwarfs there at home at the Linkley Sports Stadium. We have Elmina Sharks beating Mediama. Inform Mediama were down by Elmina Sharks. That was 2-0. Parkwesi Indum's boys doing the trick there. Bolga All Stars also drew 1-1 with Inter Allies up in Bolga. We had Wafaa Wafaa beating Accra House of Oak by 5-0. Now we'll be discussing this game in a bit, but before then, Tema Youth also drew goalless with Liberty Professionals. Now Asante Kotoko also drew 1-0 with Great Olympics in Kumasi. Now, without much ado, let's delve straight into what we'll be speaking about first on the show. Now, Accra House of Oak, they went to Sogakope and played Wafaa, West African Football Academy, and they were beaten by 5-0. Can you imagine? It's one of the heaviest defeats ever suffered by the Phobians. And yesterday was, it was a sad time monitoring Twitter and Accra House of Oak fans and, confessing the superiority of Wafaa, who have been absolutely brilliant. They are now top of the Ghana Premier League table by 2 points. They overtook Aduana Stars. So that's what is happening. Wafaa, it wasn't a fluke. We all know what they've been doing this season. They ended the first round on top. They are back from the break and they are doing the business. 5-0. It ended and goals were scored by, of course, Majid Ashimero and Dynamo in midfield. Ibrahim Abdul Wahab also scored a goal. We have Daniel Lomote scoring a brace and defender Ibrahim Abukari also completing the route. So you can see some of the highlights of the game. I'm sure my producer will be playing the highlights of the game in a bit as I'm speaking about the game. You know, House of Folk struggled badly. And then winning games. Wafaa proving once again their title wonders in this season's Ghana Premier League. Now, a lot of people have started betting on them to win the title, of course. The Ghana Premier League has seen a lot of new winners. We had Brekum Chelsea winning it at a point. We had Aduana Stars winning it. We had Wow Stars winning it. Ashanti Gold winning it after a long time, you know. So the duopoly of Accra House of Folk and Kumasi Asante Kotoko has been long gone and dead. Remember, House of Folk last won the league, what, in 2009? That's a pretty long time ago. Kotoko also won about 3 to 4 seasons ago. So it's, you know, it's an open game and a lot of people are backing Wafaa to do the business. So that's what happened in Soga Kope. Wafaa beating Accra House of Folk by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals. 5. That is what happened. But before I go on, let me read a few of your comments. Let me see those of you who have tuned into the show. Just see, we are streaming live on Pulse Ghana Sport. Yes, on Facebook, and thanks for joining us. This is the 30th episode of the Game Plan Show, and we are very grateful that you've joined us all the way. Now we have Edis Miller saying, I guess you are talking about Cheick Tiote. We are all shocked. I mean, you know, a 30-year-old, anytime you hear of a footballer passing away, you know, a sportsman supposed to be fit, you know, suffering from a cardiac arrest, it always shakes, you know, your thinking, and, you know, it makes you start wondering about life and how short and transient our journey on earth is. So yes, we are very sad. The African football fraternity is in mourning, and we've lost a colossal footballer in Cheick Tiote. We have Nene Afedimano saying, R.I.P. Tiote. Nene, thanks for your message. And Zukalion, yeah. I hope I mentioned your name right. You are saying, not easy. It's not easy at all. And being in this world and seeing people die around you, not easy at all. Now, you're also saying 5-0. I guess you are teasing Accra House of Folk, who will not be so happy about what you are doing to them, because it was a very painful day for House of Folk. It was a Black Sunday, you would want to call it, in Soga Kope. You know, they went in hoping to win. I mean, when for Kobna was in that side, he had been released from the Black Star squad to join them to make sure that House had no excuse. But, you know, they still lost, you know. So I guess it's what football is all about. Muftao Nabila, I can see you are watching the show. Thanks for joining us. Mohammed is also saying R.I.P. Tiote. Thanks for your message, Mohammed. Now let's just move on. We'll be talking a bit more of the Ghana Premier League. Now it's interesting. Aduana Stars now aren't on top of the table. They lost to Brekum Chelsea on Saturday it was. So yes, the Aduana Stars no longer atop the Ghana Premier League table. So that's very interesting. Wafaa looked to be, you know, steadily creeping into that mode that you think that they will go all the way to the title. The Aduana Stars are in second place on 33 points. Accra House of Folk are in third place on 27 points. Brekum Chelsea, who beat Aduana, are in fourth place on 25 points. Asante Kotoko, even after going 8 games unbeaten and coming back, you know, in the second round, they are on 25 points. That's 10 points adrift off the top. That's very impressive for a side that went 8 consecutive league games without a win. We have Bechem United in 6th, Bidiema in 7th, Ibusunya Dwarfs in 8th, Inter Allies in 9th, Elmina Sharks in 10th, while All Stars, defending champions, they are in 11th place. Great Olympics are in 12th place. Liberty Professionals, are in 13th place, and Tema Youth are in 14th. Ashanti Gold, who won over the weekend, surprisingly, are still struggling at the bottom. Understandable, it will take some time for them to recover. And Bolga All Stars still at the bottom. You know, I mean, I guess we can say it's not too surprising given that they are, you know, a newly promoted side, not too much experience in there. But you know, you have a lot of the newly promoted sides like Elmina Sharks, for instance, doing very well. So you know, Bolga All Stars, up your game a bit. Let's see some competition in there. So for the Ghana Premier League, yes, that is what has been happening. Hearts losing. Asante Kotoko. Let's talk about Asante Kotoko in a bit. Asante Kotoko playing against Great Olympic. Now, they almost lost that game, but for Sadiq Adam, the 27-year-old who has joined the Porcupine Warriors, proved to be the hero by rescuing a point for Steve Pollack's men against Great Olympic. So yes, Sadiq Adams only started training with Kotoko last week and has only started his first game and banged in a goal. So Kotoko fans, I'm sure, are very excited at the prospect of this former Ghana Youth International joining their ranks and, you know, doing the business for them. Sadiq Adams, of course, was part of the under-17 team that placed fourth at the World Cup in 2007 that took place in South Korea. I remember that side, they had also runs for the Say Ishmael Yate, you know, coached by Selassie himself. Yes, a very formidable squad. Sadiq Adams scored, what, 4 goals in that tournament, I think, if I remember right. You know, a goal poacher by all standards, previously of Brekum Chelsea. He has played in Saudi Arabia, has played at Etoile du Sahel, played at so many clubs, finally back and playing for Kotoko. He had a recent stint in Turkey that didn't go too well. So Kotoko fans have a deadly goal poacher in your ranks. We hope that he continues to score to alight the league. As you know, we need a lot of star players in there to whip up interest. Now, talking of StarTimes, right? They apologized for not showing the games over the week. The games they were supposed to show over the weekend. Now, I was very disappointed with the press statement that was released. I just saw it today. Now, very disappointed in the fact that they would want to defend themselves by attacking the media. You know, sadly, albeit saying that, you know, we should be circumspect, blah, blah, blah. Come on. You know, you have a deal with the FA. Most people have criticized the deal. It's about 10 years that you signed. You know, an unreal number of years. And now you are messing up. People are complaining, and they have every right to complain. I mean, GTV, you know, a lot of sources are saying that GTV haven't received their payment, and that's why there's been a lot of delays. And people are beginning to question why we moved away from another broadcaster to you and gave you such a bumper deal, and you have to be messing up. So StarTimes, you have to understand that the league is for the fans, and the fans have every right to complain. Now, journalists who complain about the league and this coverage are representing the fans. You know, it's the fans call onto the radio shows and they complain, and journalists have to trumpet, you know, what the fans are saying. You know, they have to be a vessel for the grievances of the fans. And so you cannot just, you know, take a subtle dig at journalists and expect us to keep quiet. If you are not doing your job well, it is our duty as custodians of the game to say that you are messing up. So StarTimes, please sit up and please show our games. You're asking us to be patient and all that, but you know, you had a very big deal. And you know, nobody forced the deal on you. You came in for it. So please deliver. Ghanaians are looking up to you, StarTimes. Don't disappoint Ghanaians. So that's it for the Ghana Premier League. Let me see who is watching and who is commenting on our Facebook page. I'll read your comments in a bit. So yes, that's what is happening. On the Game Plan Show, we are streaming live on Paul's Ghana Sport as always. My name is Fiifi Anaman. We'll be moving on to some topics in a bit. Now let's move on to boxing. What is happening in the world of boxing now? Isaac Dogboe. We're having a debate. People say it's Dogboe or Dogboe. But you know, I mean, the name is spelled Dogboe. So, I mean, yeah. So Dogboe or Dogboe. Now, Isaac has a bout, no matter how his name is pronounced. He has a bout coming up at the Bukom Sports Arena on Saturday, the 22nd of July. That's what's happening at the Bukom Sports Arena. He will be fighting for the WBO Super Bantamweight title, but then it's not the actual title that he's going for. It's an eliminator. after he defeats his opponent, he will have a shot at the world title. So it's a big deal for the 22-year-old. He has had 16 fights without a defeat, so he's pretty much a big deal. Those of you who've not followed Isaac, he's been doing a lot in boxing. He last year he had 2 fights. The first one was in August. He beat Filipino Neil John Tabanao in Accra to retain his WBO Africa featherweight title, which he'd won in 2015. So he's been holding on to that for 2 years now. He also won the WBO Oriental and vacant WBC Youth silver featherweight titles. That was in August when he beat Filipino Neil John Tabanao in Accra. Now in December of the same year, he fought Argentine Juan Evaristo Aristu in New Zealand and won the WBO Latino and vacant WBO Intercontinental Super Bantamweight title. So yeah, it's quite of a big deal, Isaac Dogboe. He'll be fighting another Argentine in the name of 36-year-old Xavier Nicolas Chispita. That's his nickname, Chispita. Chacon. Xavier Chacon. Yes. He has 23 fights, 3 draws, and a single loss with 7 KOs. So yeah, that's his record. He's 36. Isaac is 22. So a huge age gap. But you know, age doesn't say anything. Remember the last fight in the heavyweight division, top fight between Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. I mean, Klitschko is in his 40s and Joshua is, you know, in his 20s. But you almost saw what Klitschko did to Joshua. But for his recovery, he would have easily lost against the older opponent. So you know, age wouldn't play a lot in this bout, which will be happening at the Bukom Sports Arena. So on the 22nd of July, it has been confirmed by Paul Dogboe. That's interesting. So Isaac will be fighting at the Bukom Sports Arena. Now let me give you the rate. For popular stand, for those of you who would want to go and watch the bout, you have to pay 20 Ghana cedis to sit in the popular stand. If you want to be in a VIP, guess what? 300 Ghana cedis. 300 Ghana cedis to see Isaac Dogboe fight. Who is he fighting? Yes, Xavier Nicolas Chispita Chacon. So that's what will be happening at the Bukom Sports Arena on the 22nd of July. Please mark it on your date. Isaac doing Ghana proud. 22 fights, 16 fights, sorry, without a single loss. So that is Dogboe. 10 KOs he has out of those 16 fights. So, you know, a big boxing prospect. Many people have tipped him to win a world title very, very soon. And if he does indeed beat Chacon, he will be facing world champion and the WBO Super Bantamweight champion. He's 25-year-old Jesse Mandelino. Jesse Mandelino. He's American. And if Isaac Dogboe beats Chacon, he will be facing this man. Dangerous, dangerous man. He has 25 fights without a single loss, 18 knockouts. So yes, he's quite dangerous. The world WBO Super Bantamweight title holder, American Jesse Mandelino. So we wish Isaac Dogboe all the best in his bout on the 22nd of July. It's a Saturday night, and please troop to the Bukom Sports Arena to support your Ghanaian boxer. Boxing prospect, huge boxing prospect he is. Let me just go on Facebook. We are streaming live on Pulse Ghana Sport. We would like to hear your thoughts on the show. We have Isaac Osei Otubua. He is saying that, oh, so sad. May his soul rest in peace. I guess, Isaac, that you are talking about Cheick Tiote. Yes, may he rest in peace as well. Now should have lowered the volume. That's Muftau Nabila Abdullah. Muftau, I've heard you. O2 Phillips, you are saying, I really like your discussion, bro. Keep it up. Watching live from Italy. Watching live from Italy. Thanks for watching us from Italy. We've been having a lot of viewers from outside of Ghana. We are very, very appreciative of the fact that you stick to Pulse Sport on the Game Plan show for everything, the lowdown, everything that is happening in Ghanaian sports. We've got you. Yes, my name is Fiifi Anaman, and you are live on the Game Plan show. Nene Afedi, thanks for joining us. Yes, for following the Game Plan show. Now, before we end the show, let's talk a bit of what is happening in the Black Stars camp. The Black Stars of Ghana. The second coming of James Kwesi Appiah. That began, Kwesi Appiah was confirmed as coach in April, right? Now, in May, a few weeks ago, he named his first squad since he left the job in September 2014. Now, his squad was made up of 30 players. 30 players, 7 locally based stars in there, and as many as 12 players without a single cap. So Kwesi Appiah experimenting a lot. Now, what has been happening is that last week, started from Monday, I think it was, the team gathered in Accra. The first batch that arrived were 16 players. They started training at the Accra Sports Stadium. They had non-residential camping, that was what it was. And, you know, we saw the players arriving, you know, in their flashy cars, you know, there are you and his brother in a Bentley, yeah, and a few other players coming in. We saw all of them. And what has been happening is that on Monday, which is today, in fact, they are in Kumasi as we speak. Now, the GFA confirmed that they were going to fly into Kumasi. They arrived in Kumasi around 12 in the afternoon of today. Today, Monday, the 5th of June, 2017. Black Stars, Omalande Kumasi. Osekro will be playing host to the AFCON 2019 qualifier between Ghana and Ethiopia. That will be taking place at the Babaya Sports Stadium on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. for those of you who are looking forward to see Kwesi Appiah's second return. Now, this is very interesting because I was there for Kwesi Appiah's first ever game as Black Stars coach. I remember very well. It was in the middle of 2012. I was in the stands. It's interestingly, for those of you who followed me closely, I wasn't a journalist then. That was in 2012. I was in the stands. I was a fan of the team. I was so enchanted by what I saw that day. 7-0 against Lesotho, I think. Yes, Lesotho. It was 7-0. And that was the day I saw Christian Atsu for the first time. And my, oh my, what a player he turned out to be. And what a player he has been for us and for all his clubs he's played at. He's been everywhere. Now currently at Newcastle. So Kwesi Appiah has done a lot. He will be returning to Kumasi, coming full circle for his first game since his return against Ethiopia. Hopefully, we have another goal first. Kwesi Appiah, let's see some 12 goals here against Ethiopia. No disrespect to the Ethiopians, but come on. Kwesi Appiah, I'm sure, will be hoping to make a statement of intent. That will be what will be happening in Kumasi at the Babaya Sports. Let me tell you a bit of what has been happening with the squad. Now, 3 players have been excused from the squad. They've been dropped, so to speak. I mean, technically, but then they've given reasons why they are going to be dropped. They are Adam Kwarase, Goswe Donyo, and Mohamed Abu. Now, Kwarase plays at Brøndby in Norway. Now, he's saying that he has a family emergency in Norway, and so he can't make the squad. So he's out. Now, Kwarase, you know, anytime, Kwarase has been in and out of the squad for a pretty long time. But then, you know, people are saying that he doesn't have a really good relationship with Kwesi Appiah. You know, people are peddling around theories. We all know what happened with the first Kwesi Appiah era, Fatal, last in Kwasi. Do you remember the whole dynamics? Now that Kwesi Appiah is back, he named him in the squad, and Adam Lassen Kwasi has sort of swerved being in the squad again. Now, this is not the first time it has happened. We hope that it is indeed true that his family emergency actually occurred. And, you know, if it's a serious issue, we are with you, Adam Lassen Kwasi, and we support your decision. But away from that, Goswe Donyo, who plays in Denmark, he is saying that he has an injury that he's nursing. So he's out of the squad to play Ethiopia. And also Mohamed Abu, who the GFA is saying will join the team when they travel from Kumasi to Accra and then to the USA for friendlies against Mexico, which will be taking place on the 28th of July, and USA, which will be taking place on the 1st of July. First game in Houston, Texas. Second game in East Hartford, Connecticut. Now, these 2 games, Mohamed Abu will join the squad because he's based at Columbus Crew in the MLS. Now, another change. David Akam, massive player. David Akam, he will be joining the squad. He is currently playing at Chicago Fire in the MLS. He scored 7 goals this season from the wings. 7 goals, David Akam, in 14 games. So he's on fire. And it was surprising for me, and I'm sure for most of you, that he was dropped. He wasn't named in the initial squad released by Kwesi Appiah. But, you know, justice, it has been served. You would want to say for David Akam, massive player. He will be joining the squad for the friendlies. First game, like I said, against Mexico in East Hartford. No, Houston, Texas. I always confuse those. Houston, Texas, June 28th. But let me tell you about that game. Now, it will take place in the US on June the 28th. But in Ghana, it will take place on June the 29th because of time difference. So please take note. It will take place at 12:30 a.m. on Thursday, the 29th of June, Ghana time. So for those of you who want to follow the Mexico game, that is the lowdown. 12:30 a.m. Thursday, 29th of June, instead of the 28th that you've been hearing, because it will be in the US. You know, in the US and Ghana, huge time difference. So yes, and about on the 1st of July, the Black Stars will be playing the USA. For the second time in 4 years, we met them at the World Cup. They whipped us in that first year. Kwesi Appiah, you were the coach of that side. Do you remember? Yes. In Brazil, they beat us by 2-1. Andrea, you scored a solitary goal. Yes. The USA will be facing you again on the 1st of July, so Ghanaians look forward to that game. So that's what is happening in the camp of the Black Stars. We've also confirmed from the GFA that the team will be visiting an orphanage in Kumasi to make some donations as well. So they'll be in Kumasi from today, Monday, up till Sunday when they play that game against Ethiopia. They'll be training every day at 3:30 p.m. So fans in Kumasi who would want to watch the Black Stars stream, you know where to be. Baba Yara Sports Stadium. Tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. I'm sure they are wrapping up their training by now. We are live on Facebook, remember. Share your comment with that Pulse Ghana Sport. My name is Fiifi Anaman. You are live on the Game Plan Show, your favorite game plan show, where we discuss everything that is happening in the world of local football and as well as every other sport. We've discussed everything today. Boxing has been on the agenda, the GPL, and as well as the Black Stars. Let me go on Facebook and see what is happening with those of you who are watching. Okay, so yes, a lot of you watching. A lot of messages coming in for Cheick Tiote, who passed away in China this morning. I remember going on Twitter and seeing Demba Ba tweet that, you know, his brother is gone, and I felt so heartbroken. I didn't know Tiote of course personally, but he's a footballer, you know, beloved footballer. Those of us who follow African football know that he's a big deal. And you know, he's just had to pass away 2 weeks before turning 32. So he's very, very young. 31 it was, yes. So he's aged 30. He was supposed to turn 31 in a bit. And sad news for the Ivorian football fraternity, for the African football fraternity. Cheick Tiote dying. And so yes, thanks for joining us on the... No, but before we go, I have some interesting stuff to show you. Now, Chelsea, right? They won the 2016-2017 English Premier League season. And, you know, Chelsea have a huge support base in Ghana, primarily because the theory goes that SCN joined them at some point. And so, yeah, the Ghanaian factor there attracted a lot of Ghanaian blues, so to speak. So the Abramovich era up to today has seen a lot of fans. Of course, Chelsea have won everything during those years. They've won the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Champions League, the UEFA or Europa League. And, you know, just last season, the season gone past, they won the Premier League. Antonio Conte leading them to the league title. And Chelsea fans in Ghana visited the church. Some fans visited the church. I will show you the images in a bit. Yes, celebrating the victory. Can you imagine? Chelsea fans in Ghana. For the victory. I just thought it was interesting. And it was featured on the BBC as well. Just this morning, I was monitoring news and I saw it on the BBC. I thought it was very, very interesting that Chelsea fans in Ghana, you know, are celebrating a league title. I mean, even if Kotoko wins the Ghana Premier, we don't see Porcupine Warriors going to the churches to go and celebrate. Now, Chelsea, so many miles away in London, and we have fans in Ghana wearing blue, wearing jerseys to church to go and thank God. Hey, Ghana 4, you do all. That's what is happening in the camp of Ghanaian Blues, Chelsea fans celebrating the league title that they won. Now, yeah, you are saying, ha, so funny. I guess you are referring to the Chelsea news. Yes, Chelsea fans in Ghana having a field day with the league title that they recently won. So that's it for the Game Plan Show. Thanks for joining us. My name, as always, is Fiifi Anaman, and I'll come your way again, hopefully tomorrow, to discuss everything that will be happening. We'll be following the Black Stars very closely. They are currently in Kumasi preparing for the Ethiopia game, as well as friendlies against Mexico and the US. And we'll also be following everything else. Tomorrow I'll also be telling you about wrestling in Africa. You know, in Senegal, we have wrestling is one of Senegal's biggest sports. for those of you who don't know, it competes with football. Now, wrestling stars are big in Senegal. Now, we have a Ghanaian who is making waves there, so I'll be telling you about him on tomorrow's show. So thanks for joining us, Fiifi Anaman, on the Game Plan Show. Let's meet again tomorrow. Hopefully at the same time. We'll never know. We'll hit you up at any time during the day to bring you everything that's been happening in Ghanaian sports. See you tomorrow.